What's up, y'all? It's your boy Steph, back with another reaction. This time we have more slapped ham. The reason these haunted cemeteries should be avoided. Uploaded November 17th, 2018. Down in the description will be a link to Slapped Ham's channel, along with a link to this original video so y'all can see it for yourselves. Before we get started though, let me just say that the title is a double negative. First of all, motherfuckers shouldn't be fucking around in a cemetery unless you're going to bury someone. Number two, a haunted cemetery at that, of course that should be avoided. You should avoid a cemetery at all times. Again, unless you're burying someone or unless you're there to visit their grave. That is it. So with the fact that cemeteries should be avoided, period, unless they're for a specific good reason, and the fact that people would actually go there even knowing that it's haunted is a double negative, and they deserve everything they get. So without further ado, let's get into it. I could tell people might get fucked up.
How you doing? I'm Callan, and this is Slapped Ham. From the original White Lady story to possible vampires in England. These are 10 of the most haunted cemeteries from around the world. But just quickly, before we get into it, remember to hit that subscribe button for more creepy content just like this.
So they're haunted, and they're haunted
White
cemeteries.
Lady is a common fixture in ghost stories,
Double
and
negative.
she got her start at this haunted cemetery in Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Her legend is so pervasive that paranormal researchers Ed and Lorraine Warren spent a great deal of time investigating her haunting grounds, even writing a book about their experiences. The White Lady is one of the most photographed spirits around. Unlike most ghosts, she doesn't seem to be camera shy. Her flowy white gown and long black hair are well documented. Her story, however, is more mysterious.
Hell no.
She may be a mother in search of her lost child, an unnamed murder victim, or even a homicidal wife. Despite the frequent sightings, no one has been able to solve her mystery. The White Lady is a bit of a prankster. Her favourite pastime is standing in the middle of the road near the cemetery and getting hit by cars.
What?
The shaken drivers emerge from their vehicles and find no trace of her. She's also been spotted floating around the cemetery.
Cemeteries. Haunted
The ghost
cemetery.
of Resurrection Cemetery, known as Resurrection Mary, is the basis of numerous urban legends.
Chicago.
You know the story. A driver picks up a hitchhiker late at night. She's always young and beautiful. She asks to be dropped off at the gates of the cemetery, then vanishes.
I ain't picking up nobody.
Resurrection Mary is believed to be the spirit of Anna Maria Norcus. In 1927, she met her end in a car accident near the cemetery. For a while, she was spotted every few years, typically asking for rides from unsuspecting drivers.
Nah, you
but
good.
sometimes being hit when drivers didn't stop for her.
Negative.
The last sighting was in 1989. One driver who encountered Mary tells a slightly different tale. He picked her up in 1976. After dropping her at the cemetery, he watched her approach the cemetery gates. She attempted to open them and her grip left burn marks on the iron bars. She then disappeared. The burn marks were documented by the cemetery caretakers the next day.
I ain't picking up nobody. I don't care how bad she is.
Highgate Cemetery has the perfect ambience for a haunting. Once well maintained, it's become overgrown and eerie in more recent years. It's been used in numerous horror films, which made the cemetery famous among paranormal aficionados. The place's newfound fame also stirred up stories of supernatural activity. This cemetery's resident spook is known as the Highgate Vampire. The vampire had been seen hovering over the graves of the cemetery, leading to an extensive paranoia in the late 1960s. Vampire hunters swarmed the cemetery, breaking open graves and driving stakes through the hearts of corpses that they found there.
What the fuck?
In spite of these efforts, the vampire remained. In 1970, the fever reached its peak when two magicians competed with each other to kill the Highgate Vampire. Instead, the cemetery was swarmed with amateur vampire hunters, resulting in several arrests. Today, the vampire's haunting grounds are closed off and only open to guided tours. However, locals still believe the Highgate Vampire haunts the graves each night.
Everybody been fucking up.
Most Americans associate the city of Salem, Massachusetts with the gruesome witch trials that took place there in the late 1600s.
Yeah.
In recent years, the city has become a Halloween mecca. While there are numerous spots in the city where ghosts have been spotted, the Howard Street Cemetery is certainly the spookiest location. Howard Street's resident spirit goes by the name of Giles Corey. Corey was a local landowner accused of being a warlock during the witch trials. Many believe he was falsely accused so others could take over his land. He maintained his innocence but was sentenced to be crushed to death with rocks.
Damn!
Throughout the painful ordeal, he was repeatedly asked to confess, but simply responded, "More wait." His death took an agonizing several days. He was buried in an unmarked grave in Howard Street Cemetery, where it's said he still lingers today, seeking vengeance.
That's a fucked up way to
His
go.
spirit is most commonly seen shortly before or after a local tragedy. He's also said to have cursed the town's sheriffs, many of whom have died in office or encountered severe health problems. Corey's unfriendly ghost is just one of the spooks to haunt the Witch City, but he is definitely the most dangerous.
Crushed by rocks? That's a fucked up way to go.
Stull Cemetery may be tucked away in an unassuming corner of Midwestern United States, but its legend is worldwide.
The Compton,
This
Kansas.
cemetery is believed to be one of the world's gateways into hell itself. There are many legends surrounding the place involving occult rituals and human sacrifice. It's said that Satan himself visits the cemetery yearly, and many fans of the occult visit in hopes of catching a glimpse of Lucifer. The history of Stull Cemetery revolves primarily around a large tree that used to grace its grounds. It's said that the tree was used to hang suspected witches and that their spirits have lingered on in the boneyard's grounds to be of service to Lucifer. It's also said that Satan's own child may be buried there. One of the primary ways in which Stull's spirits make themselves known is through burning rings in the ground that flare up without cause. Stull's hauntings have become so famous that it's been declared off-limits to visitors. Old Western Burial Ground is a graveyard that boasts numerous famous occupants, such as Revolutionary War generals and famed horror writer Edgar Allan Poe. As you might expect from Poe's final resting place, this cemetery comes with a haunted history as well.
I bet.
Every year on Poe's birthday for over 50 years, the same spirit has been spotted haunting the burial ground. He dresses in all black, including a fedora and a scarf to cover his face. He places a bottle of cognac and 3 red roses on Poe's grave, tips his hat and departs. There's been much speculation about the identity of the ghost, some claiming it's Poe himself. The catacombs beneath the burial ground have an eerie history as well. Visitors often sense a chilling presence and bodies have been mysteriously disinterred. La Recoleta is a beautiful place. It's filled with ornate tombs and statuary, and it's fitting for the final resting place of some of Argentina's most important and influential citizens.
Buenos Aires.
Yet, among these gorgeous monuments that make the city unto themselves, you'll find eerie stories of restless spirits. The cemetery's most famous ghost goes by the name of Rufina Cambaceres. In 1902, Rufina died suddenly at the age of 19. She was transferred to La Recoleta, but couldn't be immediately buried because of heavy rain. The next morning, undertakers noticed that her casket had been disturbed. Fearing grave robbers, they opened the casket and found Rufina bruised and bloody.
Damn.
Claw marks marred the top of the casket. Her family was faced with the horrible realization that she had been alive when placed in the casket.
Oh!
Because she was unable to rest in her final moments, her spirit still wanders the cemetery. Rufina is La Recoleta's most famous ghost, but others join her wanderings. Some report hearing the jingling keys of former caretaker David Alino, who committed suicide shortly after buying a cemetery plot. Others have also spotted a mysterious woman in white.
I would not want to run into her ghost. She must be pissed.
The Paris catacombs are a place where nightmares are made. The final resting place of around 6 million people, visitors can see the bones of its occupants stacked from floor to ceiling. The bones of the dead were artistically arranged when they were moved to the catacombs with the explicit purpose of making it a macabre tourist attraction. With so many bodies occupying the catacombs, it's hardly surprising that there are ghost stories abound in the tunnels. Many visitors claim to see spirits wandering the tunnels, and some have even documented their sightings on film. The most famous film was supposedly shot in the early 1990s by a man who became lost in the catacombs and had numerous terrifying encounters. This man wasn't the first to be lost in the labyrinthine Empire of the Dead.
He got what he deserved.
Some speculate that the spirits are restless because their final resting places were disturbed and their remains are out on display for the public. Whatever the cause, few leave the catacombs without an eerie feeling following them.
He deserved to get lost.
For over 500 years, the Valley of Kings was a burial place for Egypt's royalty. Most people associate this location with the substantial cultural and material wealth that's been uncovered by archaeologists over the years. However, there is a supernatural side to this unparalleled burial ground. The most common tale is that of a ghostly chariot. Late at night, travellers near the Valley of Kings will be startled by a chariot, pulled by black horses and driven by an Egyptian king, barreling towards them at high speeds.
Hell no.
Some people merely hear the sounds of horses or even just footsteps, but there's no one in the vicinity to explain the sounds. Others hear the cacophonous sounds of crying and mourning echoing through the air. Still, others claim to have seen the ghost of Pharaoh Akhenaten. Akhenaten was cursed for attempting to abolish old religions in Egypt, and it's said his spirit still wanders the desert attempting to anger the old gods. Before we get to that number one spot and take a look at a poltergeist in Scotland that's responsible for over 450 documented attacks.
Damn.
Remember to hit that subscribe button and turn on channel notifications. That way you'll be completely up to date with all our latest content.
I'm ready for this one.
Of all the haunted cemeteries on this list, Greyfriars Kirkyard is likely the most dangerous. Only the bravest ghost hunters attempt to encounter the spirit haunting this boneyard, and some have sincerely regretted their efforts.
I bet.
This cemetery is home to the Mackenzie poltergeist, believed to be the spirit of George Mackenzie. During his life, Mackenzie persecuted Scottish Covenanters. After his death, he was interred in the Black Mausoleum, where his rest was disrupted in 1999 when a homeless man looking for a place to sleep broke into his tomb.
Oh.
Since then, visitors to the cemetery have reported scratches, burns, bruises, and even broken limbs after encountering the spirit.
Jeez.
There have been over 450 attacks documented.
Fuck.
Some even believe the poltergeist was responsible for the death of local psychic Colin Grant. Many graves in the cemetery are adorned with eerie angels of death, adding to the macabre ambience. Visitors will also notice another chilling sight: metal grills covering numerous graves. While in reality these were added to deter body snatching, one can't help but imagine the grills barring the way of wayward spirits, zombies, or even vampires. If you love creepy stories just like these ones, then check out our Most Haunted series. There's an embedded playlist right there. Slap that thumbs up button as always, because it lets us know you're enjoying the content. And that's it for me. I'll see you all next time.
Pew! I've learned to like that now. That's funny. I would not want to meet that ghost from number 4, that girl who was buried alive. Fuck that. She must be pissed. Bro, even though this will never happen, if I was to get buried alive and unfortunately die as a result of it, from not being able to escape, losing oxygen in this casket, in this box 6 feet under, I'm haunting the fuck out of everybody. Y'all gonna see one pissed poltergeist. Believe that. That number 1 though, yeah, I ain't fucking with that. The bruises, the scratches, the burns, that's fine. People have also complained of broken bones from this ghost? Hell no. That's what y'all get, actually, fucking around out there. Fucking with them spirits, man. Pissed poltergeists. That's what it is. That is it for this video, y'all. If you like my reaction, like the video, comment on the video, and share the video. And if you really like to subscribe to the channel, it really helps me out a lot. And tap that bell icon so you will be notified every time I drop new content, which I do on a weekly basis. That is all I got for y'all this time around. Your boy Steph is out.